Hi. iPad set straight. And hopefully I'm there. So, I'm Sarah McGeechy. I have a page over at Sarah McGeechy Medium. So I'm just waiting for people to come on. Oh, we've got one already. Perfect. I'm actually on my iPad tonight, so I don't know if I can get anyone to come on with me. Although we'll give it a go. Hi Zoe, how are you? Hi Zoe, hi Amanda, hi Fiona. Right, anyone wanting to... Are we reading? Hang on, all my cards is upside down. Hi Emma. Okay, anyone wanting a wee reading? Hi Lynn. Hi Jodie. Hi Joe. How's you? Hi Lorraine. Okay, anyone wanting to be read first? You'd love one, Zoe. Perfect. Okay. Let's have a look and see what we're going to get here. Right. Okay. Right, Zoe. I was going to say a lady, but it's not. It's a lady and a man. So this couple were a devoted couple, and they're giving me like grandparents vibes, but to be perfectly honest, I'm not 100% sure if they are grandparents. It's like an old couple that you knew, that I want to say that would have made brilliant grandparents, but I don't believe that they were yours unless it's a step grandparent or something. Does that make any sort of sense to you, Zoe? As I say, I might be completely wrong. I may be getting them that they are your grandparents, but you weren't that close, if that makes sense. But there's a definite bridge. That's the only way I can describe it. There's like a bridge, and it's either step grandparents or, as I say, a lovely neighbours, like a lovely couple down the street that you spoke to and got on well with, if that makes sense. You understand that? Brilliant. Okay. He's coming across as, he's the salt of the earth. And she's coming across as, I want to say, the mouth of the two, if that makes sense. She's the one that like spoke for them. She's the one that, I mean, don't get me wrong, not that he couldn't speak, but he spoke better when she wasn't around. He would yap away, but when she was around, he just stood back and let her do the talking. Does that make any sort of sense to you, Zoe? As I say, they're a welcoming couple. You know, they welcomed people to their house. They welcomed people to. They were just friendly, if that makes sense. I want to say that she could be quite acidic with her tongue when she wanted to be. Yeah, she was always the boss. Yeah, as I say, she could be quite cutting with her words. She didn't have to say much, and she didn't have to do much. But as I say, all she'd have to do is say a couple of words, and you were put in your place, and it was like, whoa, that sort of way. And as I say, she could be quite cutting, and she could be quite cutting to him sometimes. And I think that's why he sort of not shied away from her, because that's the wrong. But he just sort of stayed quiet, so he wasn't getting the wrath of her tongue at times. If you can understand that, okay. He liked his garden, but she's showing me a donkey. I don't know. It sounds silly, but I don't know if she's showing me a memory of like a donkey on a beach or whatever. But she's showing me a donkey. Does that make any sort of sense to you at all, Zoe? It's like, do you remember years ago they used to do like donkeys on a beach? The kids used to ride them. I keep out the way, yeah. As I say, it's like she's given me, you know, I'm saying Blackpool Beach for a beach off the top of my head. It's not necessarily Blackpool Beach, but as I say, you used to go there, whatever, as kids, and you used to see donkeys on the sand. And as I say, he used to pay a couple of quid or whatever, and well, not a couple of quid, a couple of bob maybe. And as I say, the kids used to get a ride on it. She's given me that as a memory. She always went to the beach. Okay, well that's making sense. That's probably what she's doing. She's bringing the memory in of the beach then. Okay, so not quite so much the donkey. That's fine. That makes sense. Yeah, he liked to get away into the garden just to be himself, because he was happy himself. He was happy pottering away himself and in his own thoughts, if that makes sense. And he was also one for going for a walk to clear his head, clear his mind. And yes, Blackpool, perfect. As I say, it was he just liked alone time. He wasn't much of a talker. He was hands on, but he wasn't. As I say, he's telling me that he didn't have much of an education, is his words, and he sometimes didn't know how to articulate himself, if that makes sense. So he was more, as I say, hands on sort of. If anything needed doing, he would do it. But if anything needed spoken about, she was the one that done the spoken about, and dealing with things, dealing with the money, dealing with the bills and everything else. Although, as I say, it was him that sort of earned the money, it was her that would be dealing with all that, if that makes sense. He's saying dealing with that rubbish. In other words, he didn't want nothing to do with that side of it. He let her do it all. He's also showing me. He's showing me. Okay, this to me looks like a wheelbarrow with a child in it. Do you have memories of it being him pushing you around on a wheelbarrow when you were small, when you were little? Because he's coming through with. He wants to buck you up. He's saying that you're sometimes you're very hard on yourself, if that makes sense. The things that you're good at, you know that you're good at, but the things that you doubt yourself for. You're very down on yourself, and he's saying he doesn't like seeing you down on yourself. He said because he says there's none of us perfect. There's none of us. There's right. What he's saying is there's none of us perfect. There's none of us going to live forever. He's saying so. Don't doubt yourself. He says just get on and do what you want to do. He's saying there's something about. Either you're holding yourself back, Zoe, or someone is holding you back from being your, he wants to say authentic self. If you can understand that, I'm hoping you're understanding what I'm saying. But I'm getting the distinct impression that he's coming across saying that you're holding yourself back rather than someone else holding you back, if that makes sense. Okay, she's stepping forward and she's saying, did she make jam? She's totally changed the subject. She's given me like a jar of jam, but to me it looks like, you know, with the red and white cap on with the material, so it looks to me like it's homemade, if that makes sense. So she's given me that for some reason. As I say, it's probably just a memory for you. I believe, as I say, that she made that sort of thing. She made jam and that sort of jam, marmalade, preserves is what she's calling it. So as I say, hopefully you'll understand that. Okay, well I'll leave her love with you, Zoe. Hang on, she always changed the subject. Yeah, as I say, she's talking about one thing and then it just went straight onto something else, as if to say, no, finish with that, onto something else. So anyway, I'll leave her love with you, Zoe, and I'll leave both their love with you actually, and thank you so much for taking them. Okie dokie. Right, anyone else would like a reading? Let's have a look. I'd love a message from a special loved one if drawn, please. Amy Jocelyn. Okay, right, let's have a look and see. Amy Jocelyn, if you're still there, if you put a yes in the comments. Hi Kaza. Hi Debbie. Hi Kirsty, I'm seeing you as well. They were beautiful people. They sounded a lovely couple. But as I say, she was very definitely the boss. Very definitely the boss. But I think he just played along with it just for a quiet life, to be perfectly honest. That was the impression I was getting from him especially. Okay, I think that goes Right, Amy Jocelyn, I think you've gone, have you? Okay. No problem, Zoe. Okay, right, let's see what else we can... Right, Amanda Slade, if you're still there... Amanda Slade? No? Okay, right. Karen, I'll read you. Oh, Amy Jocelyn, right, hang on then. Right, Amy, you're still there. So I'll do Amy, and then I'll come back and do Kaza, because that's what I said I'll do. Right, so give me a minute. Right, I'm being pulled to this card. Oh, okay. Okay. Amy, did you have a gentleman in your life that liked his horses? I'm getting this gentleman stepping through, and he reminds me of a horse rider. He's given me horses, but he's got the build of a horse rider, if that makes sense. It's he's quite little. He's muscular but quite little, and he's given me horse racing. Now I'm not quite sure if the way he looks, he's not showing me himself on a horse, but the way he looks, I would put him down as a jockey, because he's got that little stance, but that muscular stance, if that makes sense. He's got like a powerful stance. I hope this is making sense to you. He's also saying no to the horses. Okay, right. As I say, I'm not seeing him on a horse. He's showing me horses, and as I say, he's little and he's muscular. Okay, it's maybe betting on the horses or something that he was liking. As I say, I'm certainly not seeing him on a horse, but he's came through with horses around him. Okay, so there was definitely something in his main life about horses. So I'm gonna take a bet to you myself and say it was maybe betting on the horses, if that makes sense. If you could just you don't know anyone. Okay, does anyone, like, I'm just going to ask and put this out here for a minute. Does anyone else understand about this gentleman that loves horses or betting on a horse? But I'm getting that, as I say, he's just got that like jockey stance. That's the only way I can describe him. He's little and he's muscular and he's quite thin, but he's strong, if that makes sense. Does anyone else? I live near Doncaster Racecourse and I used to ride and always be around the horses. Okay, Stace. Okay. Do you remember anyone there, as I say, who fits the bill of this man? I want to say that he's a jockey, but he's not showing me on a horse. He's just showing me horses, if that makes sense. Jane does say that. Okay, right. Okay. Right, if Jane and Stace listens to what I'm saying, as I say, he's given me horse stables, actually. So horses was big time in his life. As I say, I think I was completely wrong when it comes to betting. I actually think that horses, as I say, although I'm not seeing him on a horse, horses was a big part of his life. In fact, he's telling me horse trainer. He's telling me a horse trainer. Does that make any sort of sense to you two, Jane or Stace? He's a horse trainer that trained horses for the racing. As I say, he didn't race them himself, but he trained them. He's showing me older now, and he's showing me, I want to say, well in his 70s, and he's wearing like a tweed jacket and he's wearing like a tweed cap. He's saying that he retired due to breaking a hip. He cared for them and raced them. Okay. You feel it's a guy you looked after. Seen lots of horse hands over the years. Shorts and jockeys. Okay. Well, this gentleman broke his hip. I believe it was his right hip. Because as he got older, he's limping. and I'm asking him why he's limping, and he's saying that he had to retire because he broke a hip. Nothing to do with the horses that he broke his hip. It was just a simple accident. He said that he fell and broke his hip. Okay. What else are you saying? Right. When he wasn't working around the horses, which was his first love, his second love was pottering about, not just in the garden, but he had an area for vegetables and whatnot. He had to be outside. He was the type of man, as I say, that lived the majority of his life sort of outside. He was always doing something. If he wasn't doing his own garden or his own like veg plots, he was out helping the neighbours and that sort of thing, because he had to be, as I say, he couldn't sit down. Even he's saying, even with his broken hip, he couldn't sit down. He was still sort of pottering about. I don't know anyone that done that, but I got a bit on the hip by a horse. Ow. Ouch. Okay, I'd love a message from my special loved one if drawn. I'll try, Amy. As I say, let me get this one over with first, and then we'll see where we're going from here. Okay, so Jane's not hers. Anyone else? Lots trained at Doncaster Racing College. Okay. So this racing college, Stace, as I say, would there be someone there that you might have known? As I say, my granddad's still here in his own garden, had a fall a few months ago. Okay. Did he work with horses? Because this man definitely worked with horses. He's adamant that horses was his life, if that makes sense. And he was definitely the build of a jockey, but he's saying that he wasn't a jockey. He was the trainer. He'd train the horses. He would, and as I say, when he wasn't out training the horses, he was basically, as I say, he was always outside pottering about. He was good with. He's saying he's good with his hands. There doesn't seem to be a wife on the scene. There doesn't seem to be. It's like when he's talking, it's all about him. There's nothing about his family or nothing about, as I say, a wife or anything. It's all about him. So he's either the type of man who he either never got married, or he's the type of man who, as I say, just speaks about himself, if that makes sense. He's just not a... Sounds like Stace. Yeah. Okay. Well, as I said... What are you trying to say? Right, Stace, if this is for you... Right. This man is all about... I don't want to say exercise or anything like that, but he's all about being on outside, keeping himself healthy, keeping himself, keeping his bones agile, his joints agile, and things like that. And the message to, I'm going to say it's to Stace because she's the only one that could sort of take it, if that makes sense. It's all about, I want to say, getting out into the fresh air, getting out and oiling your joints is what he's saying. Oiling your joints. It's like he wants you to, as I say, go out and exercise more. That sounds so patronising, but I don't mean it patronising way. The way he's saying it, it's like he's not saying it the way I'm putting it across, and it's annoying me because it's not coming out of my mouth the way he's putting it into me. It's like he wants to see you. He wants to see a healthier you. He wants to see a more fulfilled you, if that makes sense. And he believes that to see a more fulfilled you, you need to get out and do more things that you used to do. Does that make any sort of sense to you, Stace? I'm always being told I need to get out more. Yeah, it's like you stopped. This last few years, you stopped doing things. It's not, you haven't stopped doing things that you love. You've stopped doing, like, I'm going to say manual things outside of the house. You're too much in the house. You're too much yeah, you're spending too long on your backside, is what he's saying. To be blunt, I'm sorry, that's what he's saying. So he wants you to get up, get out, exercise more, go for walks, go for not a jog as such, but just get out. And lots of health issues at the moment. Yes, makes sense. As I'm not a people person anymore like I used to be. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. I'm just not good at. I'm trying to. He's actually. He's not talking in riddles as such, but he's not bringing me the full sentences. So I believe sort of later on in life, I don't think he had dementia as such, but he had trouble maybe getting his words out or getting his sentence out. It's like he knew what he wanted to say, but getting it from there to there was hard for him. And and I'm picking up exactly the same, and that's why it sounds like I'm waffling, if that makes sense. But it's actually the way he was. So I'll leave his love with you, and he just wants you to, as I say, see a more healthier you. Okie dokie, Stace, and I'll leave his love with you. Okie doke. Right, let's have a look. Right. Linda Madams. Your name's jumping out at me. Right, Linda Madams, are you still there? Right, Linda, if you're still there, could you let me know, please, and then we'll. If it's who I think it is, yes, I can understand the communication issue. Okay, that's perfect. Okay, that does make sense, as I say, because it was like I was getting to myself. I was getting frustrated, but I think it was his frustration of not being able to communicate what he wanted to say, if that makes sense. No, you're welcome. Right, Linda Madams. Okay, right, let's have a look and see. God, these cards is flowing about. Right, clear my mind. Okay. Right, Linda. Okay. I have a lady come through, and although she's given me like a motherly energy, I don't believe it's actually your mum. It's like an auntie or like a friend of your mother that would be sort of had been around you a lot, if that makes sense. Linda, if you're understanding this, as I say, I don't believe she's your mother. I believe it's either your mother's sister or an auntie or a friend of your mother's. As I say, she's given me sort of motherly vibes, if that makes sense. Okay. So do you understand that, Linda? Okay, good. Right, I'm not great with names, and I've been asking Spirit to work with me for names lately, but she's just dropped the name Maureen into my head. Now, I don't know if Maureen could be her, Maureen could be a friend, it could be sort of, as long as you know a Maureen, it's maybe just proof that she's given me. Yeah, okay, that's perfect. Okay. As Linda keeps, who is it? It's Linda. There's someone on here that keeps calling me, and it's cutting me off. Could you stop? Could you please stop? Thank you. Okay, sorry. Yeah, you know I'm Maureen, right? That's just put me right off my stride. Give me a second till I get back in. Okay, right. You know I'm Maureen. Okay, right. And she's. Sorry, that broke the link. Just give me a minute till I get back. Right. Okay. Right, this lady knew you from when you was young. She knew you from when you were little. She's given me memories of a childhood in. Whew, if I say 60s, 70s. Yeah, if I say. By the look of the clothes that's on. The child that they're giving me, I'd say maybe 70s style of clothing. Would that make any sort of sense to you? She's also given me, candy floss. she's actually showing me someone making candy floss. It's not like just a stick of candy floss. It's like they're actually showing me the sugar going into the machine and the stick going round and doing the candy floss. Does that make any sort of sense to you? Right, where are you, Linda? If right, not an aunt though. No, that's okay. As I say, it's just sort of that sort of vibe, if that makes sense. As I say, I just know it's not a parent. I know it's not a mum. Okay, right. As I say, she's given me this candy floss. It's the only way I can describe it. It's this big round metal thing. 70s, yes, but not an auntie. She had a friend, Maureen. No, that's fine. That's fine. And as I say, it's 70 style clothes she's given me, and she's also given me like, I want to say like a gala, like a fete or something like that. And as I say, it's like she's given me this big silver like a candy floss machine, okay? And she's showing me someone pouring sugar down the middle of it, and she's showing me a stick and someone going like that around it, collecting up the candy floss. So it's not like she's showing me a child eating candy floss. She's actually showing me someone making the candy floss, if you can understand that. What she's trying to say. No, it's a memory she's given me. It's a memory she's given me, Linda. Do you understand that at all? Did you ever make candy floss at a fete, or was with someone or watching someone do candy floss at a fete? Because as I say, this is quite important to her for some reason. Okay. Right. Okay. She's talking. You once I did. Yeah. Okay. Right. Right. She's talking about his. Have you had at school? Okay. Well, as I say, she's talking about this candy floss, and she's talking about someone with they've had painful teeth, or they've had like false teeth, or what do you call those, caps on their teeth. Does that make sense to you, that she's bringing through this candy floss because someone's got, or someone needs something done to their teeth? And I get the distinct feeling it's the front teeth. No, okay. Okay, why are you telling me about the teeth? Why are you telling me about the teeth? Okay, this. Why are you telling me about the teeth? Okay, right. Someone, I don't think it's you, Linda, but someone close to you has been or needs to go to the dentist to get their front teeth sorted. It's definitely their front teeth. It's like they're either going to get them straightened, or they're going to get them capped, or they're getting them something. Someone close to you is getting something done with their front teeth. And she's brought the candy floss through. She's brought the candy floss through to say something about. Right, what are you trying to tell me? There's a connection between not the candy floss as such, but like sweet stuff has ruined someone's front teeth, and they're getting them done. Okay, she's got a brace and they keep breaking. Okay, well she's asking, she's in a funny sort of way, in a roundabout sort of way. She's saying not to give them sweets, not to keep sweets away from them, basically. And if she's got a brace, she's obviously can't have sweets anyway. So that's probably what it is. Okay. Okay. This. Right. The girl that's got the braces. The girl that's got the braces. Okay. Is she coming home from school quite upset recently? She can't eat them. Okay. Right. There's someone, if she's coming home from, right, this is what she's trying to say. This girl with the brace is coming home from school, and she's quite upset, and she's taking it out. She's taking out her frustrations on her mum. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay. Right. I'm on the right track. Well, thank you. Okay. Right. She's saying that this young girl is basically, I don't want to go so far and say she's being bullied, but she's actually saying that there's other girls that's not being nice to her. They're not being they're being horrible to her. In other words, I don't want to say that they're bullying her, but they're being really horrible to her. And that, I don't know if it's to do with the braces. I keep going back to the mouth at the front, as I say. It's these couple of girls at school are not just taking her friends away from her, but belittling her and just being downright nasty to her, basically. And she's coming home and she's taking it out. You've thought that, but she says not. Okay, but she's actually being bullied. There is people taking the mick out of her at school, and as I say, she's not saying nothing to them, but what she is doing is coming home and taking her frustrations out on her mum. And it's gotten to the stage where her mum is finding it really difficult to cope with it, because, as I say, it's not just happening, it's happening most nights. And she's saying, and she's here to let you know the reason of it. She's letting you know that you are on the right track, and to be there for her to talk to, if that makes sense. But she's really here to tell you, as I say, that you are on the right track. She is being bullied, and you need to get a stop put to it by going to the school, basically. That's exactly what she's trying to say. So you are on the right track. She is being bullied, and you and her mum, being the adults in the situation, need to go to the school and get this sorted, because it's going to get worse before it gets better if you don't intervene now, Linda. So I'll leave her love with you, and thank you so much for taking it. Okie doke. Right, who else did I say? I said Kaza, didn't I? Are you still here, Kaza? If you're still here, thank you. If you're still here, I will... I've said that, thank you. Okie dokie, thank you for letting me know. Right, Kaza, are you still here? Let me know, and I'm going to change cards for a second. Right, if you're not, I'll give you another... Yeah, you are. Okay, right. Right, let's have a look and see. Okay. Right. I have a lady here, okay? And I was going to say I don't think she was your partner, but you'll decide that. You'll know what I'm speaking about. This lady has come through, and she said she always wanted to swim with dolphins. Does that make any sort of sense to you at all, Kaza? She always wanted to swim with dolphins. That's the only that's her. That was one of her biggest wishes in life, and that's what she wanted to do. Are you still there? Okay, right. Right, Kaza, could you try and keep up with me if that would be okay? Otherwise, there's going to be an awful lag. That's your girl. Okay, right, okay. As I say, one of her biggest wishes was to swim with dolphins, okay? And this is all she's given me, is swimming with dolphins. And she's telling me that she wants you to do her wish for her. She wants you to go swim with dolphins, because she knows that you wanted to do that. You wanted to do that too, although it was her. She was the main one that wanted to do it, if that makes sense. She's also given me... When she was younger, she was quite sporty. She was quite sporty in the respect that when she was younger, I want to say played football, but I have a feeling that that's wrong. I have swam with them before. Okay. I want to say played football, but I think she just liked football. Although I'm seeing her kicking a ball. Now, I reckon she's only a teenager, maybe early 20s at this stage. She's actually kicking a ball with younger boys. I don't know if she's... Could she have been... You was the sporty one, she wasn't. Okay, right. I'm seeing a young woman with short hair, short hair, kicking a ball around, and I'd say late teens, maybe very early 20s, okay? She's given me a memory of something, and as I say, I'm assuming it's her. She might be giving me that it's you, Kazar, I don't know. But this is what she's given me, and she was quite, whoever she's showing me was quite fit, was quite healthy, was one of the boys, was one of the lads, if that makes sense. They got on better with like males than they did females. She's saying that she couldn't be doing with a lot of women. She could, like, when it came to having pals, she preferred males than females, because she said she couldn't. Oh, that's the cat jumping on the table. Sorry. She says around females they could be quite bicthy or bitchy, that sort of way. I'm not going to say the word on a live, but that's how women came across to her. Does that make some sort of sense to you, Kaza? And she preferred, as I said, the company of men. She could laugh, she could joke, she could hold her own, she could curse and swear and be on their level. If does that make sense? Okay, none of us. Yes, you can take the guy friendship with Suze. Okay. As I say, it was more, and she's showing me a steak pie. Why she's showing me a steak pie, I have no idea. But she's showing me like a small individual steak pie, and it's a good thick one with, as I say, like a Scotch pie. That's. She wasn't a girly girl. No, she's definitely not a girly girl. She's coming across. Although she's telling me that she dressed up once. She dressed up for an occasion once, and she said she was really pretty when she dressed up this once, and she was like very feminine in that dress. She you can take a steak pie. Okay, brilliant. She's giving me the steak pie for something. Okay. As I say, she did dress up once, and she was in a frock, and she was shocked how good she looked, if that makes sense. So yeah, but apart from that, as I say, can you take the name Mike, Kaza? She's given me the name Mike, as I believe it would have been a mate, a friend. She's also given me, when she gives me the name Mike, she's given me a motorbike. School, yeah, okay, that's brilliant. As I say, she's given me this Mike, and she's given me a motorbike, and she's given me a red and white helmet. The bike wasn't red and white, but the helmet was red or white with red on it. If that makes any sense to you at all, Kaza. She's also given me, I couldn't picture what it was, but you know the toffee bars. It's an iron brew toffee bar. It's a long toffee bar, like the Healing Cow toffees, but this is an iron brew one. You can take a motorbike, brilliant. As I say, she's given me this iron brew toffee bar, and she's also given me fudge. She liked fudge. Either her or yourself like fudge. She had quite a sweet tooth. There's one of you had a sweet tooth and one of you didn't have a sweet tooth. And I believe it was her that had the sweet tooth. Okay. She's telling me that she didn't do great at school. She didn't do great she wasn't great at academics. She had a good head on her shoulders. Yes to Iron Brew. Okay. She had a good head on her shoulders. She had a lot of common sense, but she wasn't very academic, she's saying. You both had sweet tooths. Okay. When it comes to her school days, she couldn't wait to get out of school. She couldn't wait to be earning a pound for herself. She couldn't wait to get away from the structure of school, if that makes sense. I think she didn't do well because she didn't like it. She didn't like, wise head. She's got a very wise head on her shoulders, but she's saying she didn't actually like the structure of being at school. It was like she felt hemmed in, if that makes sense. She felt that no one understood her, and school just wasn't the place where she bloomed, if that makes sense. It was after she left school and she got into the workforce and became her own person, that's when she bloomed, if you can understand that. Okay. Right, what else are you talking about? What else are you talking about? Swimming. She's given me... To start with, I saw what I thought was a head bobbing about in the open sea. But then by the time that scene had gone, she'd given me like a swimming pool. So I don't know if she's telling me that she enjoyed swimming, or I'm seeing more than one person actually. I think it's children. I think there's children there. And as I say, it started off in the open sea, and then it was like it ended up in a swimming pool. So she's obviously wild water swimming and a swimming pool. Okay, right, fair enough. That's why she's bringing the both in. Brilliant. Okay, and she's also given me... Right, have you been seeing an awful lot of butterflies around you lately? She's making me aware of butterflies going round my head. Okay. Now, I'm not keen on butterflies. Ever since I was pregnant with my son, I've got a sheer fear of butterflies. But she's putting them around my head. Now, she's telling me that there's been a lot of butterflies around you lately, and this is her. This is her. She said there's been a lot of coloured ones, but there's been... No, I hope I'm not getting this back to front. There's been a lot of coloured ones, but one white one. Or there's been a lot of white ones and one coloured one. I believe it's one white one, and the white one is her. Does that make sense? If it's not, it's the other way, and I apologise putting it the wrong way. But as I say, there's been either a lot of coloured and one white, or a lot of white and one coloured. Whatever one, the odd one out, is her. Okay. And she's also saying robin redbreast. There'll be a robin redbreast in the next wee whiley around you, and she said that's her as well. She's giving me robin redbreasts. Right. She's also given me... She's taken me to Christmas, Cara, and she's taken me to an angel on the top of a tree. This angel on top of your tree is significant. I don't know if it originally belonged to her. I don't know if it originally belonged to one of your children or what. But no to the white one, unfortunately. Okay. As I say, I picked that up wrong. It's definitely something about butterflies. As I say, you look out for a robin, definitely. As I say, and there's this... I want to say angel on top of a tree, and I want to say the colour gold for some reason. And I don't know, as I say, if it belong. I can take the angel. Okay, brilliant. Thank you. As I say, it was it's something significant about it anyway. Maybe she's just coming in with evidence. I'm not sure, but she's definitely saying something about it. And she's also given me, I want to say, a staffy dog. You know, I got a ceramic angel made with her name in it. Okay, brilliant. Okay. Right, I don't know if it's a staffy, but it's like a staffy style dog. I've got hair in my mouth. It's like a staffy style dog. It's really short hair, and it's got the square muzzle, the square nose, if that makes sense. I don't know if that's making any sort of sense to you, but she's given me that style of dog for some reason. Okay, she's given me the name Buster. If you can make head nor tail of that. Karen, I'm not sure. The name Buster. It's either You can't take the staffy, okay. Can you take the name Buster with anything, or would that be boxer dog? Yeah, it's got the square. It's got the short fur, and it's got the square snout, if that makes sense. So, okay, brilliant. As I say, I got the dogs muddled up because I'm not great with dogs. Excuse me. Yeah, this dog was all gangly. It's long legs and gangly. Um, so yeah, okay. And as I say, she's given me the name. I'm not sure what her dogs were called in spirit. Okay, okay. Well, she's given me the name Buster for something. To be perfectly honest, when I heard the name Buster, the do you remember the singer Buster Rhymes? Was it Buster Rhymes? I'm sure it was Madness or something like that. She had boxers. Okay, okay, right, okay. Well, when she gave me the name Buster, as I say, I came out and I thought it was the dog, but actually the man who sung, I don't know what he sung. I can't think what he sung. What did he sing? Was it Buster Rhymes, Madness or something? Did she like Madness sort of music, like what was it? The tune's in my head and I can't get it out. Bad Manners, that was what it was. I knew it was something like that. But did she like that sort of music, or did you like that sort of music? It was like late 70s, early 80s sort of music. Done too much, much too young. Done too much, much too young. She's putting that words into my head, and I'm sure that was what he sung. Done too much, much too young. Bless the blood vessel, that's it. Right, Madness in the 80s music, yeah. As I say, that's what she's given me. Done too much, much too young. Now, that I think maybe she done too much, much too young, which I actually think is a message for you, Kaza. That's a song that he sung, but it's like, I done too much, much too young. So, was she, I don't want to say was she wild in her younger days, but it was like, that's the impression I'm getting, if that makes sense. So yeah, her energy's actually backing off now. It's probably not her energy; it's probably my energy. But she's backing off now. But I want to leave her love with you, but not just her love. I want to give you the biggest cuddle and a kiss there. Kiss right on the top of the forehead. She was wild, I think. Yeah, okay. That's as I said. You listen to the words of that song, Kaza, and I'm sure it's done too much, much too young. It's something like that. And as I say, I want to leave her kiss. She wants to kiss you on the forehead right here. And I'll leave her love with you, and I hope that makes a lot of sense to you, Kaza. Thank you so much for taking her. Okay. Right, who's next? Who's next? Right. Right, let's have a look and see. Right, Mel Whelans. Are you still there, Mel? Thank you, Lorraine. Mel, are you still there? No? Right, okay. Jane Fallhaber Wilson. Jane, you're there. Okay, right, Jane. Let's have a look and see. Okay, Jane, let's have a look. Right. Right, Jane, I have a gentleman come through and he's showing me some sort of wrestling, and I don't know if it's WW, is it WWE, WW something, or would it be the old British wrestling? I'm not sure. He's showing me a wrestling ring, and he's showing me men in their shorts or whatever wrestling. Does that make any sense to you? It's I actually think it's the 80s, 70s and 80s wrestling, I think. But these men look too fit for that. Okay. Right, Jane, are you still there? Right, Mel, you're there. Right, I'll have to come back to you in a minute, Mel. Okay, I'm just reading now for Jane. if I could get it to answer. Yeah. Right. Do you know? Right. Okay, I'll come back to Mel in a minute. Okay. Sorry, I picked someone after that. Okay, so you understand someone watching the wrestling. I'm sure it's the 70s or the very early 80s. As I say, there is funny looking blokes. Funny. They're funny looking blokes, but they're in the wrestling ring. As I say, this gentleman now, he's told me to tell you that, and you understand it. He's stepping through, and he is, I believe he would be your grandfather. Yeah, I believe he'd be your grandfather, and he wasn't very old when he passed. I want to say he was only maybe in his 60s, very early 70s at a push, but I still want to say 60s. And I also believe May, June time would be very, very significant with this man. That was either his birthday, his passing, or I feel it's significant with him, May or June time, if that makes any sort of sense to you, Jane. Okay, I'll try and come back, Amy. I say I can only go by who comes through, if that makes sense. Right, Jane, I'm not 100% sure what you're saying. You're saying oh, and then you're saying Cattell Lynn. I'm not sure what that means. I'm actually working with you, Jane, but it would be easier if I got some sort of answers from you, please. Who I've got. So as I say, I have this gentleman, as I say, who brought through like the 70s and 80s wrestling. Your grandfather. Okay, that's fine. As I say, this gentleman, as I say, wasn't very old when he passed, although he looked older than what he was, if that makes sense, because he's saying that life wasn't great to him. He was a hard worker, and he aged before his time, is what he's saying. He's telling me, he's just given me a London bus, okay? Now, usually if they're giving me London bus, it's either London has got something to do with it, or obviously buses have got something to do with it. I actually don't believe, as I say, it's a London bus. So he was either a bus driver, or, as I say, he came from London, or he had connections in London, if that makes any sort of sense to you. Please don't put your name up, brothers. So yeah, he had a gym and basement and exercise with rings. Okay. Right. Why are you giving me a bus? He's definitely got a connection with a bus, Jane. He's got he was either a non-driver and a big bus user, or he drove a bus. There's definitely a big bus connection, if that makes sense. He's also given me a skipping rope. He's given me a skipping rope, and I'm seeing him skipping with a skipping rope. This man was generally fit, but he's telling me that he aged before his time. God, did your grandfather have some sort of, I don't want to say dementia or Alzheimer's or anything else, but he's given me brain fog. It's like he's thinking, but he doesn't think fast. It's like he's quite slow, if that makes sense. Met my grandfather on a bus. Okay, right. Well, that's the bus. Thank you. Okay. But he's coming across like there's something medically wrong with his head. Like he's maybe had a stroke or a blood clot or something in his head that he's given me that wasn't right. He was an alcoholic. Okay. That's probably why I'm getting the fuzziness and the fog. Okay, right. Okay. I'm actually seeing double. Okay, it's like, did he have really thick lensed glasses, or it's maybe with the drink then I'm seeing it. But did you have like thick lens glasses to start with, Jane? As I say, if it's not that, it might be the fact that, as I say, it's the drink that I'm seeing double with. Another grandfather died from a stroke. Okay. This gentleman was quite. He would say what he thought. He wouldn't hold back with his tongue. He was like, if it needed saying, he would say it, and he wouldn't care if he was. He could swear. He could turn the air blue, and he really didn't care if there were children about or anything else. It was like he needed to say it, so he opened his mouth and he said it. If that makes sense. Oh, you never knew him. Okay. Well, this is what he's given me. He's given me the impression, as I say, that he didn't care who he said anything to. If he needed to say it, he said it, and there was curse words in amongst it. I heard he was mean. Okay, well that's what he's coming across as. It's like he didn't really care who he said it around. He'd say it, and that wasn't the only thing. So what you're saying corresponds what's coming through to me. But he's also letting me know that he's now aware of that, and he now knows that was the wrong thing to do, the wrong way to behave. He's now, I want to say, now learnt his lesson, if that makes sense. And he's saying if he could live his life over, he wouldn't be like that now, because he now knows that's the wrong way to be, if that makes sense. Don't get me wrong, he's not apologising or anything, but what he is saying, he's acknowledging the fact that he wasn't very likeable, if that makes sense. Okay, he's talking about not. He did have temper problems. He had anger issues, and what he's trying to say is he's acknowledging that there's someone around you at the moment who is either has got or has had issues with anger, like they can't hold their tongue themselves, they can't hold their anger in, if that makes sense. And what he's saying is, what he's saying is, he's acknowledging that, and he wants you to he wants you to know that it's not your issue, if that makes sense. I want to pick this up correctly, so if you just give me a second, I just want to pick it up. Right. He's aware there's someone around you, as I say, with anger issues at the moment, and he's saying there's also someone around you or yourself is taking it very, very personally. And he wants you to know that it's no one's fault, even the one who is showing the anger issues. It's not their fault. So I'll get this right. Okay. Okay, right. He's saying please don't take it personally, and to get them help, to get them. Right, I'm just going to read down for a minute. Oh yeah, your granddaughter. Okay. Right, you're very close to her. Okay. Well, he's saying please don't take it personally, because it's not aimed at you personally. It's what she's going through at the moment. It's like she's lashing out at everyone, at the people that she feels safe around, if that makes sense. Because she's safe around you. Know that she knows that you love her no matter what. And as I say, she's lashing out to you because she feels safe around you. Is what he's trying to say. And he's saying he knows only too well about anger issues, and this is why he's bringing it through about your granddaughter, and he's saying just please don't take it personally, but get her some help. Yeah, she does that a lot. Yeah, well, that's, as I say, that's what he's saying, and it's just a matter of, he said he can't talk because he had anger issues. He had anger issues most of his life, and he knows now that that's the wrong thing, that he was in the wrong for doing that, for being like that. But he's also trying to tell you that it's not totally her fault, if that makes sense. And if you can hold on and keep loving her through that, she will come through the other side, is what he's trying to say. So I will leave his love with you, and as I say, he wasn't the type to give anyone's love. So by me saying I'll leave his love with you, that's my words, if that makes sense, because he wasn't that type. But I'll leave what he's saying, I'll leave his best wishes with you, and thank you so much for allowing me to read for you, Jane. Thank you. Right, let's have a look and see. Carol Brown. Did I say that I would read for Carol? I think I did, didn't I? Oh, thank you, Jane. Right, Carol, if you're still there. Yeah, you are. That's fine. Okay, just give me a minute. Lorraine, how long have I got left? Could you pop up how long I've got, please? And who did I say I was reading for? Carol Brown. Okay, right, let's have a look and see. Okay. Right, Carol. I have a lady through here, and this lady's shown me herself in her garden. So this lady obviously enjoyed. I don't actually think she enjoyed gardening. She just enjoyed her garden, if that makes sense. She liked to be sort of out in the garden. I don't even want to say sitting sunning herself. She just enjoyed the fresh air out in the garden. You know, first thing in the morning she'd open her door or whatever and stand on a doorstep with her cup of tea. That sort of way. That's what I'm getting from her. As I say, I don't get that she particularly liked garden. I don't think she didn't particularly not like it, if that makes sense. But as I say, she's given me her garden, and as I say, and I'm actually seeing her standing at our front door with a cup of tea in her hand. It's like she liked just the fresh air in the morning, fresh air in her lungs, if that makes sense. She wasn't very old when she passed, and she's given me stomach issues. She's making me aware of my own stomach, if that makes sense. She's had stomach issues in her time. I don't believe that's what she passed with, but she's definitely making me aware of my stomach. It's like an irritable bowel or something with when she got a little bit anxious. She's given me, as I say, stomach. It's like flutters in my stomach, and I want to say pain, but it's not a pain. It's like an ache, if that makes sense. It's hard to explain, but she's definitely making me aware of my stomach, if you can understand that. I'm also smelling smoke, so I believe that she smoked. If she didn't smoke, she was around someone who smoked, because as I say, I'm smelling it. You're not sure about the stomach, okay? As I say, I'm definitely getting aware of. As I say, I'm not quite sure if it's like irritable bowels or what, but she's definitely making me aware of my stomach. Like it just wasn't 100%. Maybe some things that she couldn't eat, or something that, as I say, her stomach played up. But I'm getting the word anxiety. So she was maybe quite anxious. Yeah. As I say, it's I definitely smelled the smell of smoke. And as I say, she's taking me back to the doorstep again. It's like she used to go out there, especially on a nice morning or whatever, stand at the doorstep, have her cigarette and have her a cup of tea and whatnot. She's also showing me, she's showing me a big blue Silver Cross pram. So I reckon she's taking me back to maybe the 70s. Would it be the 70s? I've maybe got the era wrong, but she's taken me back a good few years anyway. My daughter had IBS ages ago. Okay. As I say, something about she's showing me walking down the street with this big blue Silver Cross pram, as proud as punch. It's like this pram cost an arm and a leg, but she was so proud of this pram. And I'm also seeing a child in it with like hand knitted, like, I don't know if it's an all-in-one suit, but it's definitely a cardigan with a little bonnet. Yeah, she had one of them. Yeah, that's good. As I say, it's the way she's walking down the street, and as I say, as she's walking, it's bouncing along, and as she's just proud as punch of this pram. She really is. Okay, she's also showing me taking. Okay. To me, it looks like she's taking children to dancing lessons. One of the children enjoyed dancing lessons. It's a little girl, and I'm trying to work out what kind of dancing it is, and I can't. But all I know is it's dancing lessons that she went to. She's also showing me a really, really old. Do you remember years ago the brownies? They used to wear the little frocks with the belt around and the little cap, and they had their badges up here or whatever side. This is what she's showing me, but as I say, it looks to me like a 70s or 80s style. She would knit for your kids. Okay. I also had Silver Cross for my first child. Okay. Not sure on the dancing lessons. Okay. Well, as I say, this looks like. As I say, she's inside. I'll just tell you exactly what. I think this woman had. I'd said about stomach issues, but I'm getting like pains up here. I don't know if she had problems with like heartburn or acid reflux or something. As I say, that's what I'm getting. You was in the brownies, okay. As I say, either yourself or this lady's got definitely reflux issues or something, because as I say, I'm feeling it coming up my throat. Right. As I say, what I'm seeing is it's like this dance. It's not like a dance hall. It's like a hall, and it's got like a full window of glass. Okay, and she's inside, like collecting a child, and there's other kids outside looking in the glass. Does that make any sort of sense to you? Because I'm not quite sure what I'm talking about, the dancing. I'm describing the scene, what I'm seeing. So if hopefully that will make more sense to you. She had a heart problem. Okay, as I say, I'm definitely getting sort of, I don't know, it sounds to me like acid reflux or something, but she's definitely making me aware of my chest. I know that. As I say, and I'm trying to describe this. As I say, it's like a big hall, and it's got bars up the side, like a ballerina bars, if you know what I mean. And as I say, she's inside collecting a child, and it's like there's other kids outside looking in. So if that makes any sort of sense to you, Carol, I don't know. Okay, and right, she's given me, as I say, the brownies, and as I say, it's like a little berry cap with the wee dress and the belt. So, and as I say, I don't think the brownies have had that kind of clothes for years. So it must be, as I say, taking me back to like your childhood. Okay. She's also given me beanie bears. You know the little beanie bears, the collectible beanie bears. She's given me beanie bears. Someone in your family or herself collected them at one point and had a good few of these beanie bears, and they still had their tickets on, and a lot of them were still in their bags. Does that make sense to you? Yep, Mel, I'll get you next. Yep. Right, does the beanie bears make any sort of sense to you, Carol? She had a lot of stuffed toys. Okay, well, okay, that'll take that. That's good. Okay, right. Sorry about the noise in the background. My dog's deciding to roll on her back. Right, she's turning around and telling me that you have run out of patience with someone. So did you. Good. Right, do you understand me saying to you that you've run out of patience with someone? Someone has really, really pushed you to your limits and you've run out of patience with them. Because this is what she's telling me. She's telling me that you've got to the end of your tether with a certain person. And she would normally say to you, give them time. And you would understand that. But she's saying you've given them plenty of time. Does that make any sort of sense? What she's trying to say is you've given them more than enough chances. I did about my daughter's ex-boyfriend. Okay. As long as you want to say that, and Mel Whelan's was next. Yeah, I'm doing Mel's. Apologies to Mel. Right, okay. Right, what she's going on about. I'm getting given the word toxic. Okay, so you'll know what I'm on about. That this person has had chance after chance after chance, and each time has buggered it up for themselves. But I'm actually being told that they are toxic, and to get rid, if that makes sense. I don't like saying that about anyone, but that's the message I'm getting. That person is toxic, done the right thing, getting rid, and to stay away, if that makes sense. Okay, he's toxic. Okay. Okay. She's saying that. I'm assuming she's talking about your daughter then. When she's saying that they need to surround themselves with positive people that are going somewhere in life, because what she's telling me is you fly with the crows, you die with the crows. So you are like the people. You are like the people that you hang around with. So she's telling you to make sure that she hangs around with positive people that are going somewhere, people who have ambition, people who want something out of their life, because because if she hangs around with people like that, she will start wanting to do the same, if that makes sense. If she hangs around with toxic people, she will end up toxic. She will either end up like them or she'll end up damaged by them. So you're being told basically to encourage her to be around people that want to do something with their life, people that want to, as I say, are positive. And I suppose that could go for anyone, but because she's been in that relationship with that toxic person or whatever, she's telling me she came away blaming herself, and that's not the case. She said it's not the case, but she said to encourage her, as I say, to be around these people that want more from their life, and she will then therefore want more for her life, and it will set her back on the correct path, if that makes sense. So I'll leave her love with you, and thank you so much for taking it. And as I say, I'm sorry, if I was not getting it out right, but I wanted to put it across to you correctly, if that makes sense. He blames her and she blames herself, and as I say, it's to get him out of her system. Basically, she needs to move on into a different path, and as I say, not blame herself. So anyway, I'd say I'll leave their love with you, and thank you so much for taking her. Right, okay, I'm back to, I think it's Mel Whelan, if I will look right. Excuse me, yeah, Mel Whelan's. Okay. Right, are you there, Mel? I'm sure you are, because, as I say, I did say you were next and I put someone else in your place, so I apologise for that. Oh, thank you, Arlene. Right. Right, Mel, the minute I see your name pop up and say you're here again, I will bring someone through. Right, Mel, are you here? Oh, let's have a look what that card was. Yes, you're here. Brilliant, 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 brilliant. I'm not even going to use that deck. Just give me a minute so I'll clear my... Right. Right. Okay. There's none of these hitting home there. Okay. Right, Mel. I'm debating, because I have a man and a lady stepping through and I don't believe that they're together. So I'm going to give you the lady first, okay? The lady's coming through on I want to say a motherly energy, okay? Yeah, I definitely want to say a motherly energy. But I actually don't believe that she's your mum. But then people can have motherly energies and not necessarily be your mum. So yeah, okay. I want to say a motherly energy, but I don't want to say that she's your actual mum, if that makes sense. Someone who maybe looked at you in a daughterly way, maybe treated you in a daughterly way, if that makes sense. This lady, she wasn't very well a lot in her life. She's given me painful muscles in my legs. She's given me... No, it's muscles. It's a muscular pain I'm feeling. You know how you get like a deep cramp in your legs? That's the kind of pains that she's given me. So she's obviously had some sort of disorder most of her days. Does that make any sort of sense to you, Mel? She's the word autoimmune's come into my head, to be perfectly honest. So she's had some sort of autoimmune disorders. She's actually right. Change the subject. She doesn't want to talk about her illnesses. Okay. Hi, Patrick. Right. Yeah, she doesn't want to talk about her illnesses, but what she does want to talk about is you've got like a lack of self-belief. If it's not you, it's someone around you who's got a lack of self-belief, is what she's saying, and she's basically here to give you confidence, to give, if it's not you, it's someone else. It's like someone needs building up. They need their confidence building up. They need their self-esteem being built up because they've lost their confidence in themselves. Does that make any sort of sense to you, Mel? Okay, if you could answer me, just so, there is a little bit of a lag, but it would be nice if I could get some. No, you're not too late, Mandy, but I'm just reading someone at the moment. Right, maybe grandmother, but I didn't know her. Okay. Right. Well, I feel this woman was she was never 100% when it come to her health. She was, I don't want to say she was sickly, but she was very easily ill, if that makes sense. I want to say a lot of your childhood memories would be around her being not 100%. You know, like she maybe had had to lie in a bed with migraines and whatnot. And as I say, she definitely had like muscular problems. Okay, right. Again, she's talking about Gracie. Stop, Gracie, stop it. Sorry, my dog's chewing her feet. Um, she's given. Right. Okay. Right. This lady. Oh, God. Right. For the second time tonight, I've got someone who has like, the only way I can describe it is like a brain fog. It's like, I don't know if she's given me a heavy head because of her migraines, or the fact that she's quite, I don't want to say slow on the uptake because that's wrong, I'm not saying it right. What she's given me is like something wrong with her head, like I'm getting something like an aneurysm or a brain tumour, or because it's making me really want to, the only way I can describe it, I want to put my hands over my ears and close my eyes and just really go into my own shell. It's like everything is so loud to me, if that makes sense. Does that make any sort of sense to you, Mel? It's like, it's really, really hard to explain, and it makes me want to, as I say, I don't know if you've ever suffered from like a migraine, but the light goes for your eyes, any noise is like really, really loud and whatnot, and this is what she's making me feel, and I'm going to have to ask her to lift it from me because it's not very nice. Does that make any sort of sense? Yes, that makes sense. Brilliant. Okay. Okay, as I say, she did say right at the start she was a woman that never kept well, if that makes sense. Although she did try to be, she's telling me she tried not to be a burden to people, and this is what she feels that she was. She feels like that she was a burden to people. It feels like that she was, she's given the impression that people thought that she was a burden, and that's the last thing she wanted to be, but it's like she couldn't help it, if that makes any sort of sense to you. Your dad heard that, okay. Okay, right, she's going back again. At the start I started going on about someone around you or yourself lacking confidence, lacking like the confidence is just gone from you, if that makes sense. It's like you really can't, it's like you should, God, it's hard to explain, as I say, because she's coming across it. It's really hard to get out. The only way I can explain it is someone has lost their confidence and they're having trouble building their confidence back up, and when she's trying to explain it, she's not explaining it right to me. So have you lost your confidence or something, Mel, or you having trouble building someone else's confidence up, maybe a child's confidence or something? She's talking about someone being really good at something and then stopping whatever it is, and it's like they're starting up again, they're starting to do it again, but it's like they lack confidence in it now. Your mum was ill for a while before she died. Okay. I'm just getting... Right. This lady's telling me that she didn't have the best starts in life, okay? Her own parents wasn't... They were quite strict. In fact, they weren't quite strict, they were very strict with her, and they kept her down, she wanted to be her own person, but she wasn't allowed to be her own person. Does that make sense? So it's like in those days, she said, you done as you was told, no matter what, you done what your parents told you to do, but it stopped you being your own person. And what she's talking about is then because she wasn't her own person when she was younger, she wasn't allowed to be her own person. As she got older, it was like, to start with, she was still sort of under that thumb. She was still, would only speak when she was spoken to. She would only still She was a people pleaser. She wanted to please people. And then as she got even older, by the time she got to her late 20s, early 30s, she realised that she didn't have to answer to anyone, if that makes sense. And then she became her own person. And it's that confidence of being her own person and building her confidence up from there is what she's trying to explain, that you were independent, you had your own confidence, and you've lost it, and you're struggling to build it back up again. Does that make sense? She told me her story so that it comes in with why you've lost your confidence, if you can understand that. Can you understanding what I'm trying to explain, Mel? Yeah, I'll see what I can do, Pauline, okay? As I say, there's sometimes you've got to be drawn to people, and the reason that a medium is drawn to someone is because it feels like you're drawn to them, because it's like you know that you can read for that person. Sometimes, not sometimes, but always, Spirit draws on my memories to read for you, if that makes sense. And if your life has nothing to do with my life, and I don't have any sort of memories in my memory bank to pull on, it means Spirit won't come to me for you, if that makes sense. But that's not to say they won't, but I'm just trying to explain how Spirit work a little bit, if that makes sense. So you understand we're saying yes. Apologies for that. Okay, right. Okay, right. This confidence thing, she says she wants to clear it up. She says you know what you're good at, and you know that you are more than capable, is her words. She's saying that, yeah, you are more than capable of doing what you need to do. She's saying, yes, you've lost your confidence, but she says it won't take long for you to get back on track and build that confidence up and be the person you once were, if that makes sense. She's actually, she's telling me that although she had quite a, I want to say a hard upbringing, because as I say, she was kept under the thumb, and she didn't really go without, but what she did go without was, what she did go without was loving encouragement, if you can understand that. And she's saying that this is why she's coming through to give you the loving encouragement, because she wants you to have something that she didn't have. And this is what she wants to give you. She wants to give you her encouragement to get on with doing what you need to do, and when you need strength, to pull on her, and she will be there to give you the strength that you're getting from no one else in your life at the moment. And I hope I've done her justice, and I hope I've got the message across to you, because that's what she wanted to say to you. So I will leave her love with you, and thank you so much for allowing me to work with you. Okay? Yeah, you hold yourself back sometimes. That's what she's saying. But she's saying when you need help, just call on her, and she said she'll give you a wee kick up the backside, is what she's saying. Okie doke. Okay, right. Let's have a look. Right. Laura Matthews, are you still here? Your name's just jumped out of me. Laura Matthews. I'll give you a minute to see if you're here. I'll shuffle my cards. Laura Matthews. Laura Matthews, are you there? No, okay. Right, let's have a look and see who else. Right. Come on, someone's going to jump out at me. Right, whose name's going to jump out? Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Right, Laura Matthews is jumping out still. Are you there, Laura? If you're there, I'd love a message from my special loved one to Joan, please. Linda McClelland. Hi, Linda. Right, okay. Right, let me see who else is going to... Right, Tracy McGinley, are you still here? I'll let you in a minute. It's cat. The cat's now at the window wanting to come in. I hear you. Laura McGinley, are you still here? Hi, Mandy. Right. Gone, I think. Yeah, I think they're gone as well. Okay, okay. Right. Right. There's no one jumping out. Come on, jump out at me. Anything from me, please. Right. Come on, jump out. Right. Mandy Shared. Okay. Mandy Shared, if you're still here. Right, Mandy Shared. Right, here we got to come in. Okay, Mandy. Okay, right, let's have a look. Oh, okay. Right. I've got this lady, and she's not very old at all. I reckon she's only in her, I want to say 30s, maybe 40s. No, 40s. She's in her 40s, and she passed with a cancerous condition. And I want to say she's making me aware of I was going to say the top part of my stomach, but I actually think it's the lower part of my stomach. No, she's making me aware of both parts of my stomach, so it's obviously all over my stomach. Okay, right. So I believe that she passed with a cancerous condition that was in her stomach of some sort. Okay. And she's also making me aware of my back, so it obviously went through to my back as well. So it maybe would have went through to my lungs or my liver, maybe. Okay, right. Right, this lady was in a lot of pain. She was in a lot of pain. And she says she doesn't want to talk about her passing, but she was glad to go. She was glad to pass at the time she did pass, if that makes sense. Actually, a really lovely... She had such a positive nature. She was constantly laughing. She was constantly joking. She was constantly... she was the type of woman you could hear her laughing and joking before you actually saw her, so you could hear her before. This was her cancer diagnosis. Right, hang on, 2 ticks. Right, I can only think of my mum, Sarah. She was 70 but young at heart. Okay, right, this was her cancer diagnosis. Okay, right. Why is she showing me in her 30s or 40s? I know, I better say 40s. Actually, her 40s were one of the best times of her life. I get the distinct impression that her 40s was her time, if that makes sense. It was like her kids was sort of up, not off her hands, don't get me wrong, but they were up independent, and she had time for herself. She had time for time for herself to do the things that she loved, things that she had to put on the back burner for her kids to give time to for her kids. Does that make any sort of sense? She was the type, as I say, she was the type of woman, as I say, she enjoyed. She was fun-minded. She was, she liked to laugh. She liked to joke. She liked. Don't get me wrong. She could be serious when she needed to be serious, but she tried not to be serious on a lot of occasions. If that makes sense. This was when she split. Okay, right. As I say, it's like that was the time. That's why she was showing me it. It was a time in her life when she was herself. It was like she was free to be herself. It was like she, as I say, to start with, I got the distinct impression it was the kids was up and more independent. She got a chance to be herself. But it's like the one time in her life, as I say, that she got the freedom. She got to be herself. She got to know herself from being in a relationship from when she was young, and then it was like, I'm myself now. I'm stronger than I think. I'm better than I think. I can do this myself. And it was like she started dating again. Yeah, as I say, I'm just getting the distinct, and anything sort of not great that was happening, she always put I don't want to say a funny spin on it, but she always sort of tried to make light of a situation, if that makes sense. She was the type of woman, as I say, that don't get me wrong, she could take things seriously when she needed to, but if she didn't need to, she could put just a funny spin on things, just to make light-hearted of it, rather than being downhearted all the time, if that makes sense. She's talking about, right, okay, you or someone around you is procrastinating. I can't even say the word. Oh man, procrastinating is the word I'm trying to say. She's saying someone's thinking about doing something, but they're not getting off their backside and doing it. If that makes sense. She took life in her stride, and it was a hard one for her, especially her health. Okay. As I say, she's saying someone is procrastinating at the moment. They're thinking of doing something, but they've never got around to doing it. Yeah, you know the word. So what she's trying to say is, if it's you or whoever it is around you that's doing that, they need to get up off their backside and get to work. It's like they're wanting to do something. They're desperately wanting to do something. I don't know if it's like the importance of like starting a new venture, as maybe going into higher education, or starting a new job, or needing to move. Not needing to move home as such, but needing to move jobs or just better themselves. But someone's procrastinating about it. Yes, this is me with spirit set up. Okay, right. Well, you're needing to do something, as I say, and you're not getting off your bum and doing it, if that makes sense. And what she's trying to say is, you'll never move forward without taking that first step. And without that first step, you can't take a second step, is what she's saying. So she said you need to get up, and she says you need to plan your week out, and you need to say, right, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and this is going to help me get to there, if that makes sense. And she's saying you need to not just say you're going to do it. You're guilty of not getting up and doing it, if that makes sense to you, Mandy. And this is what's getting her. It is getting her frustrated in a way. She says because she sees the potential with you, but you're not helping yourself by not getting up and doing it. She says because she knows that you're more than capable. And she said it doesn't come down to confidence or anything else. She says it just comes down to the fact that that you're sitting thinking about it and not doing it is what she's saying. So so that's what she says you need to do. You need her size 7's up your backside, she's saying, and that's what that's what you're needing to do. That's what she's needing to do. She says she's needing to give you a size 7 up the backside, and you need to be getting on and doing what you need to do. She says, and imagine where you'll be a year from now, is what she's saying. So yes, I hear her when she gets annoyed. Okay, right. As long as you understand it, as I say, she's actually coming across as really caring and loving, and as I say, in a jokey sort of way. But she's really wanting to get it across to you that you're the only person that can change your future, if that makes sense. And this is what she wants you to do. She wants you to get on with it, and she wants to see where you'll be in a year from now. So I'll leave her love with you, Mandy, and thank you so much for taking her. Okie doke. Right, that is now near 9:15, and I was due to finish about 9 o'clock, so I will love you all and leave you. I do have a page, it's Sarah McGeechy Medium, and I do have a website which is exactly the same, sarahmcgeechymedium.com. And I want to thank you all so much for your support tonight, and I will be on live again soon, and